The moment I saw those blue and red lights slicing through the pine trees, I knew right then Patricia Bellman had finally snapped. We're talking two sheriff's cars flying down our narrow mountain road, sirens howling like the world was ending, gravel spraying up behind their tires. I was still trying to process it all when Deputy Harrison leapt out, hand hovering by his holster, like he was about to walk into a standoff. For what you ask, well, that'd be my 87-year-old grandfather, Joe Parsons, standing there in his favorite fishing vest, clutching a bag of bird seed, blinking at Patricia like she was the star of some reality TV train wreck. And Patricia, oh, she's there in her oversized sun visor, lips pursed so tight you'd think she was trying to keep the whole HOA from falling out her mouth, pointing at Grandpa like he was Bonnie and Clyde rolled into one. "He's trespassing," she shrieked, and honest to God, I thought I saw paint peel off the side of the cabin. "That vagrant broke into the Riverside property. I demand you arrest him immediately." And Grandpa, bless his old army heart, just adjusted his hearing aid and gave her that sideways grin he saves for bureaucrats and people who put pineapple on pizza. "Ma'am, I was in Army intelligence during Vietnam. I've survived jungle warfare, 2 divorces, and the time I accidentally ate my wife's tuna curry experiment. You think your little hissy fit is going to shake me, but hold on, let me back up. Because this didn't just come out of nowhere. Oh no, this was a slow-motion disaster building for weeks. So my name's David Parsons. I'm a software developer who got the world's weirdest upgrade, a hand-me-down cabin in Pine Ridge Estates, this gated mountain community full of people with too much money and not nearly enough hobbies. I wasn't looking for trouble, honest. I just wanted some peace, a place to work remote, maybe breathe that mountain air and hike a little. The cabin had been in our family forever, a classic A-frame tucked between these ancient evergreens, looking out over a river that's the closest thing I've ever had to church. But see, peace isn't in Patricia Bellman's vocabulary. She ran the HOA like a medieval duchess, with a taste for blood. From the moment I moved in, I could feel her watching like a hawk that only swoops on the new guy. 3 days in, she shows up on my porch, smile tight as a drum. "Mr. Parsons, I'm Patricia Bellman, HOA president. I noticed you haven't filed an exterior modification request for that bird feeder." I blinked. "The bird feeder that's been here since 1985. She doubles down. "All exterior features must be approved. Remove it until the paperwork's filed. And that welcome mat, the bylaws require neutral brown or beige." I looked down at my uncle's favorite mat, Big Bear, Beware of Attack Squirrel, and tried not to laugh. "You serious?" She just stared deadpan. "We have standards, Mr. Parsons." That was the opening shot. Over the next month, Patricia launched what can only be called a campaign of suburban terrorism. Violation notices stacked up. My kayak was the wrong shade of green. My tiny garden was an unauthorized agricultural installation, and my American flag. Oh, that was 3 inches too big for her tastes. I tried to reason with her, showed up to an HOA meeting thinking, maybe we talk like adults. Mistake number 1. Patricia ruled the room like a queen. When I pointed out the cabin had stood like this for decades, she hit me with previous negligence doesn't excuse current violations. The rest of the board, useless, sat there like hostages, afraid to make eye contact. Things took a hard turn when I caught Patricia on my deck at 7 a.m. snapping photos. I stepped outside with my coffee. "Patricia, what are you doing on my property?" She didn't even blush. "Documenting violations. That deck stain is unapproved." I said, "Get off my property, Patricia," she huffed. "It's Mrs. Bellman, and I have every right to ensure compliance. No, you have the right to leave before I call the police." From that day, I started logging everything, every violation, every time she hovered near the fence, every weird little note. I knew it was going to get messy. Enter Grandpa Joe. He's not tall, But he fills up a room 30 years in the military, 20 running construction, and still sharp as a tack at 87. This place hasn't changed, he said, looking around. Your uncle and I built that deck, solved the world's problems right there with a beer or three. I warned him about Patricia, but Grandpa just laughed. Son, I've faced drill sergeants and your grandmother, some suburban busybody, please. Next morning, while I'm on a video call, Grandpa's out filling the feeders, humming Johnny Cash, totally in his element. Patricia must have been watching from the shadows because next thing I know, the cavalry's rolling and sirens blazing. I run outside to see Grandpa holding birdseed and Patricia in full meltdown mode. Deputy Harrison tries to calm her. Ma'am, can you explain? This man broke in. He's probably homeless. Grandpa just cool as ever. Maybe you'd know me if you bothered to meet your neighbors. I've been coming here since before you were born. Patricia loses it, demands his arrest. I step up. Officers, this is my grandfather. He's my guest. Patricia's been harassing us for weeks. They ask Grandpa for ID, and he pulls out his wallet slow as molasses, just so everyone's at ease. You know, in all my years, never been accused of breaking into my own family's house. While the deputy runs his license, Patricia rants about transients and property values. But when the deputy comes back, everything changes. Mr. Parsons says here you're a decorated vet, Silver Star, Bronze Star, Purple Heart. Thank you for your service. Grandpa just nods. Just doing my job. Never thought I'd need medals to put out birdseed on my own porch. Patricia's still not done. I don't care if he's president. There are rules about long-term guests. How long you staying? Mr. Parsons. Got here yesterday, planning to stay through the weekend, help my grandson fix the deck. Though looks like the only thing needs fixing is this lady's attitude. At that point, I'd had enough. Officers. I have security footage of Mrs. Bellman trespassing, taking photos, measuring my deck without permission. Patricia went purple. Those were official inspections. I said for those you need to provide notice. Patricia, not just your say-so. Deputy Harrison's partner, Rodriguez, almost laughed. Mrs. Bellman making a false emergency call is a serious offense. What we see is a veteran visiting his grandson. Patricia tried to pivot, but he was distributing unauthorized wildlife feed, birdseed, Grandpa said, flat as can be. In feeders, older than you. Deputy Harrison finally told Patricia, I strongly suggest you go home and rethink how you treat your neighbors. But she wasn't done. She starts filming us on her phone. This is going in my official report. You'll be hearing from our lawyer. Big mistake. Grandpa just straightens up all steel. Lawyer. That's funny, my old Army buddy Harold's the best property lawyer in the state. He loves an HOA overreach. Says it's like fishing with dynamite. For once, Patricia actually hesitated. Grandpa flips open his antique phone. Harold Joe. That case we talked about, I got a live one for you. I have no idea if Harold was even on the line, but Patricia didn't stick around to find out she bolted for her house. Deputies made sure we were all right, and Harrison handed me his card. If she harasses you again, call us. False reports aren't a joke. That night, me and Grandpa sat on the deck watching the sun set gold over the pines. She's not going to let this go, I said. Grandpa just grinned. I'm counting on it. See, I didn't just serve in intelligence. I spent years helping JAGs sort out property disputes on Army bases. And Harold Best property lawyer in 3 states. We go way back. I started to see where this was going. Grandpa said she made 3 big mistakes, false police report, admitted harassment on video, and she picked a fight with someone who actually enjoys this kind of thing. Next few days, Harold sends Patricia and the HOA a cease and desist letter, absolutely roasted her for trespassing, harassment, and misuse of power. But the twist, Harold digging through public HOA records finds Patricia's been using HOA funds for security cameras, pointed at anyone she didn't like, and billing the HOA for her car payment. At the next emergency board meeting, Pine Ridge Estates turned into a circus. I showed up, couldn't resist. When Harold laid out his findings, the crowd erupted. You used our dues to spy on us, one neighbor yelled. "And pay for your Mercedes," another called out. Patricia tried to talk over them, but it was hopeless. The board finally grew a spine, voted her out, effective immediately. But it didn't end there. The DA opened an investigation. Turns out Patricia had been skimming for years. Couple months later, Harold calls me giddy as a kid. Patricia just copped a plea, 18 months probation, $50,000 in restitution, 200 hours, community service, and she's banned from HOA boards for life. $50,000. All that drama, and she lost everything over a bird feeder and a power trip. New HOA president Mrs. Henderson stopped by last week. We should have stood up to her sooner. Your grandfather did us all a favor. Now the place is peaceful. Bird feeders are up. My kayak is still outrageously green, and the attack squirrel mat is staying right where it is. As for Patricia, I saw her duck behind a display of canned soup at the grocery store. Couldn't even make eye contact. The former queen of Pine Ridge Estates hiding behind beans and tomatoes. When I told Grandpa, he just topped off the bird feeders and said, "The real tragedy. If she'd just been decent from the start, none of this would have happened. Power goes to people's heads, but karma's got a longer memory than any HOA bylaw." You know he's right. Patricia's fall wasn't about deck stains or unauthorized carrots. It was about mistaking a little authority for real power and picking the wrong family to mess with. Last I heard, she'd sold her house and skipped town, probably best for everyone. Me, I'm still here feeding birds, flying my oversized flag, living free. And Grandpa. They made him an honorary HOA member. He hung the certificate next to his medals. Says the tyrants are always the most annoying. Funny thing, really. Sometimes the most dangerous person in a neighborhood isn't the one screaming the loudest. Sometimes it's just a stubborn old vet with a bag of birdseed, a lot of patience, and a sense of justice that refuses to retire. So tell me, was I right to fight back? Or should I have played it safe? Is standing up to petty tyrants worth the headache, or does it just bring more trouble? I'd love to hear what you think. Drop your thoughts below. Let's see if there's still a little justice left in this crazy world.